Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Now today we're doing some more light fishing today, and the targets are codling. Now there's been a lot of bass coming out recently as well. There's been a lot of good reports of codling coming out. So me and Ellis are here tonight. We've got some fresh peeler, some bought from the shop and some Ellis collected while I was there this morning. And we're going to have a go. Now I'll run through rigs and everything while it's still light, because it makes filming a lot easier. But at the moment, we've probably got about 15 minutes till it gets dark now, and we're going to be fishing 2 hours down to low and 2 hours up to high. So it's only a short session really compared to what I normally do, and that's solely due to the fact that the current just rips through here when the tide starts coming in. As soon as it gets above a certain level, it's just too much to fish in. So we're using relatively heavy leads today as well, and we're just going to see what we can get. Now there's a chance of flatfish and silver eels as well, given that we are using peeler crab and worm. So hopefully we'll be able to get some fish. Let's see what we can do. Right guys, I'm using two different types of rigs today. Now the first one, if you watched my last video, Bass Fishing with Hack, you might recognise this as Hack's bass rig. Now on the bottom there, I've got a 6-ounce gripper. You can see clipped into the lead there. I've got a bottom trace and a top trace, and they're both done with blood knots, I believe they're called. And they're just standard traces. And on the end, I've got a 3/0 hook and a 3/0 circle, and the same on the other trace. Now the thing I've got different on this trace compared to the other one I'll be using is these are free moving pennel hooks, and my other rig has fixed pennel hooks. So this one, I'll have 2 baits on the rig, and my other rig, which if you're a long time viewer you would have seen from when I went fishing with Hack on the Mersey, is what I call the Bandit Fishing cod rig. Now they did a video on this, guys. The guys at Bandit Fishing UK, they did a video on what they use for their cod. Now it's a simple short pulley. It's got a blood knot there which stops the pulley bead to act as a stop, so when the fish grabs and runs it hooks itself. That's the idea behind it anyway. But their trace is the interesting bit. They like to use a fixed pennel hook. So as you can see, I've got a binding knot on that, and then my 4/0 hook at the bottom, and a 4/0 circle hook there. So that will be the big cod bait, that one, and the other one will be the sort of scratching bass bait, flounder bait, and see what we get on that one. Reels and rods wise, I've just got my estuary set up, which is 2 fixed spools and 2 light rods, 4 to 8 ounce casters. They're normally what I use for scratching on the rocks. So we'll give it a go, guys. So like I said guys, we're using peeler crab tonight, and that is enough for 2 rigs for me. Now the cod rig will have a full peeler crab on the bottom hook and a section of lugworm, and I'll show you how I like to bait up my frozen lug as well, because I prefer using frozen lug to fresh lug. And the scratching rig, or the bass rig, will have this guy, well probably the bigger guy actually on, because I like to use half a peeler crab when I do scratching rigs. So I'll peel this guy, and then using a pair of scissors I'll cut him in half, make a nice little neat bait that way, and that will go on the end of the hook just to tip the bait, tip my lugworm bait. But this guy, I will probably leave most of the shell on, if not peel the shell and leave some legs hanging there. The other side I'll remove the legs, and then I'll have a nice sausage of lugworm, and that's what I'll be using today. So I'll get them baited up, and once I've baited them up I'll show you guys. So guys, one of your best tools when using frozen worm baits is a baiting needle, and I'm going to show you how I like to bait them up. Now, I never put on a single worm because a lot of the time you're going to give it a decent welly with your cast and you see your worm fly off from your rig, or they just don't last at all, especially when the crabs are about. So my trick is I like to use multiple worms in one bait, and I'll show you how to do that now. So I've got some frozen blacks here, which Carl, who has been on the channel before, mine and Hack's mate, he goes all the time and collects these lug, and these are some really good lug. So I've had them in the freezer since the start of the summer, so they're perfect for this sort of fishing. Now I'm going to do the cod bait. So when I do the cod bait, it's normally 3 worms. So what I like to do, I get them in a bunch like so, and with the pointy end of my baiting needle, I stab them through the head. So you end up with something like that. Then what I do is I fold the worms over on themselves. So you have something that looks like that. Now it doesn't look very appetizing at the moment, but to a cod or a bass or a flounder, this is a cracking bait. And it's a very good bait to use in the winter, because if you've got a lot of whiting, they do last a bit longer than just a single worm. So I'll get this threaded up and I'll put it on the hook, and I'll show you guys how we like to present the bait. So guys, you can see I've got my bait elastic now, and I've got my worms, and all I'm doing is pinching that bend we made in the worms, and I'm just going to start wrapping round and making a nice streamlined little bait. Now something like that is an ideal bait. That is going to last a lot longer than just a single frozen worm. So that's 3 worms there in a nice streamlined bait. Then what I do is with my peeler crab, get your pair of scissors. Now you don't cut all the way through the crab, you cut about 3/4 of the way. Open it out and lay it across your worm bait. So you'll end up with a lovely looking bait like so. Now that's perfect for cod, bass, whiting, any sort of winter species. You can use the same thing in summer, but I normally like to use these sorts of bait in winter. So we'll get that on the cod rig. Now using the fixed pennel, ideally you want to match your bait to where the pennel would be. So you can see I've done this one perfectly, so all I need to do is get my bottom hook in, and then I can just hook the top of the bait with the pennel. So there you go, you can see the bottom hook is in, hook's nice and proud. Now with this top pennel hook, I wrap it around a couple times and I just hook it right in the top of the worm bait like so. So you end up with a lovely looking cod bait. Both hooks are nice and proud, and that is ready to cast out. So we'll get this one out, guys. I won't bother showing you the scratching rig because I want to get out fishing. So we'll get this one cast out, and then we'll see what we can catch. Look at this. First cast, and Ellis has got a lovely condition codling. What was that on, mate?
It was on the, I think it was on the crab and lug.
Crab and lug cocktail, just like what we're using, guys, and you can see it's worked perfectly. Look at that beautiful condition. And that was first cast as well, wasn't it, mate?
First cast, first fish.
Cracking job, mate. Now we are fighting the tide a bit, but clearly it doesn't deter the fish. That's a great cod to start the session. Well done, Ellis. Right guys, you just seen Ellis's fish. Oh, and he just threw the hook. Just threw the hook then. But you can see, it was my cod rig, the bandit cod rig. There was the worm bait and the crab. And on the end was a beautiful little estuary codling. Look at that, check that out. You can't complain with that, he's a chunky fella. Some nice fillets on him, so check if he's in size. But that's a lovely fish, so we've already had 2 cod and we've not even been fishing, what, an hour? So we've still got 3 hours left. But we're really struggling with the tide pull at the moment. It's very hard to see bites and the wind is coming straight from our right as well. So we are struggling a bit. I've had to angle my rods right down the beach to make sure that I'm able to see any bites, but there we are. Look at him putting his fin up and everything for us. A lovely start to the cod season. So we'll get a photo, we'll see if it's in size. He either go back or we'll come home for tea. Cheers guys. So guys, we're getting towards low tide now. It's about 7:30 I think. And it's gone a bit quiet as the tide's died off, and I thought the fish had died off as well. But I got a really nice positive bite, and on the end was this chunky bugger. I think he might be the biggest one of the session, but if you can see in there, he's absolutely engulfed that big lug and crab bait. He wasn't going anywhere, but there's the bait, so I can readjust that. That's still a good bait, but check that out guys. 3rd fish of the session, 2nd fish for me, and we're still an hour and a half into the session. Cannot complain with that so early on in the cod season. And they've got very sharp teeth here as well. But that's my 2 keepers. I know you can take more, but I only really like to take 2. If I get anything bigger than that, it's a good breeder for me, so I'd put it back. But we'll get that knocked on the head, sorry. I'll get it put in the cool bag. Cheers guys. So guys, I am now on the 3rd cod of the session. So that's 4 between us now, and that was on a Hack's bass rig from the last video. I was actually just about to bring that in, but me and Ellis were just chatting by the rods, and I was literally just talking about slackline bites, and I got a lovely knock, ran over, picked up the rod, couldn't feel any bites yet, so I wound down, then the line started slacklining, really wound, and I was into the fish. But he was hooked quite deep, but I managed to unhook him enough without yanking the hook out, so I'm hoping he'll go back, because he's nowhere near the size of the others, but he's not a bad fish to be fair. Can't complain with that. And we've still got another 2 hours really left of the tide, so we'll get a photo and we'll get it sent back guys. So guys, we've got to the point now where we're on slack water for low tide. So I've got some fresh baits out on both rigs. Ellis has put 1 rod away and he's gone to do a bit of spinning. It's not worth having a go like, because there is a few bass about. I think my right rod might be going. But I have improved my lighting situation from the last video. I went to roast tackle and got some more tip lights, and I found a nice little torch to put on my tripod. It doesn't do much, but it does enough to light up the rods. But we're hoping we'll get another run of fish I've had 3 codling now. Ellis has still had his 1. He did drop what felt like a decent one at his feet. But we've had 4 codling between us. And we're hoping we can get a couple more as the tide starts rising in again. So we've still got another couple hours of fishing. But we're feeling pretty hopeful, to be honest. I've still got a roll of lug left, and we've still got plenty of peelers, so I've got enough bait. And thankfully that smaller codling, it did go back. Just spent like 10-15 minutes reviving it, letting it clear out its gills, and it was able to go back, thankfully. So we'll see what else we can get. Right guys, I'll just give you an update, because I don't think we'll be fishing much longer. The tide is coming back through now, but the fishing has died right off. So I left my big bait out, my big worm and crab bait. That I haven't brought that in to check that. So we'll see what that does. But I have put on a fresh, just the last of the worm bait. So if I get anything else, I'll show it on camera. But if I don't, it'll be the outro. Right guys, as you can see, back at the cars. And it's been a pretty good session. We had 4 cod between us, didn't we? 4 cod. We've dropped some fish. Unfortunately, Ellis hasn't had a great session in terms of dropping fish. I think you lost 3 out there, didn't you?
3, and sure 1 was a bass as well.
Yeah, very likely one of them was a bass. So we didn't have any bass of this session, but we have 4 very nice codling. 3 for myself and 1 for Ellis, but we all have some keepers, so we'll have plenty of tea. But if you enjoyed the video, give us a like. Anything you want to say, put it down in the comments. I do try and read them all, and I'll give it a little heart if I have read it, and I'll get back to you if it's a question or something. But footage wise, there should be plenty there, and I hope it's been an enjoyable video. So cheers guys, and thanks for watching.